This program is brought to you by the following sponsors.
All right, let's get started. So this is all of the manga that I've purchased since the last video. I should probably slow down for the next couple of weeks because I've been buying a lot of manga and I've had a lot of time to read because of my job, so I figure I share what I've been reading with you guys. First up, what we have here is Dungeon People Volume 2 and Volume 3. I did finish the first volume, and I figure since this was such a very small series that I hurry up and get the rest of Dungeon People. Dungeon People is actually pretty interesting. It's a manga about it's kind of like an RPG brought to life. It's about a girl who basically goes dungeon crawling, and she's looking for her dad, and she ends up finding out that there is a business that is being run that basically populates the dungeons with items and monsters and such, and monsters are just employees for the travelers. It's actually really interesting because she ends up joining this group and becoming one of the employees. I actually enjoyed Dungeon People quite a bit when I read the first volume. It takes a bit of a while to read because it's very wordy, but it's really good nonetheless. Highly recommend. 3 volumes is pretty good too. Next, I got Gachi Akuta Volume 1. I was really interested in reading this only because of its graffiti art style. I have a thing for graffiti. I used to actually do graffiti when I was living in New York as a teenager. And then when I moved, I was also doing graffiti here until I got caught. So that was when I was really young. So anything with graffiti in it, I am a big fan of. This story is actually pretty interesting too. It follows this character. He's basically framed for murder and he gets thrown into something called the pit. And the pit is like a different, I guess, people think when you go there, you die, but he finds out that there's actually another dimension with creatures there and people with different types of powers, and he's starting to understand his power. It's almost like a fighting game brought to manga life. It's really strange the way it's read, but in a very good way. The art is vastly amazing. I really dig the artwork in this. I recommend it right now. It definitely has a lot of potential, for sure. Next, I got Sakamoto Days. I was not gonna get this, but it was recommended to me by a friend. It doesn't look appealing to me, but I saw the covers for the other volumes, and those grabbed me, so I decided to read Volume 1. And Volume 1 of Sakamoto Days is really, really fantastic. I'm actually kind of shocked at how good it is because I don't like shonens too much, but this was really good. It follows a retired kind of hitman assassin character, which is this guy, Sakamoto, and he has a family and he has a child, so he retires and he runs a convenience store like 7-Eleven. But then this other, I guess, group of hitmen are trying to take him out of the game because once you become a hitman, you're not allowed to leave. It's really, really funny. It's almost like the movie Hard Boiled, but as a comedy. If you haven't seen Hard Boiled by Chow Yun-fat, it's highly recommended. It's really good. It's a cop action drama. It's really good. This manga kind of reminds me of that. I liked Volume 1 so much that I ended up getting Volume 3. I couldn't find Volume 2 because it was sold out completely, so I had to wait for a reorder. But I got volume 3, volume 4, volume 5, volume 6. All of the covers are amazing. Volume 7, volume 8, volume 9, and volume 10. I'm waiting on volume 2 to get here. It's still not here, but as soon as it does, I'm definitely gonna jump on board Sakamoto Days. It's really, really good. I highly recommend this manga. Like I said, I'm not into shonens, but this is really fun. I really enjoy this. I'm starting to notice if a shonen has a lot of comedy in it, I tend to gravitate towards those. This one, highly recommend. Next manga I've been reading is Call of the Night. I actually just read this last night while I was trying to fall asleep. This is actually surprisingly intriguing. I didn't think I was gonna like this, but I did enjoy the cover of the art, so I figure I'd pick it up. It follows a teenage boy and this girl. He meets this girl late at night because he has insomnia, so he walks the streets at night. And he meets this girl who just happens to be a vampire, and he wants to become a vampire, but he finds out that the only way he can become a vampire is not by bites on the neck. That is apparently a myth. So he has to, the only way you can become a vampire is you have to fall in love with a vampire, and then they have to suck your blood. That's the way it works here. Now, this book is interesting and intriguing at the same time because so the characters are portrayed as teenagers, but the way it's written is almost like a teenage coming of age story. The characters do a lot of sexual innuendos is what I mean. So it's kind of reminiscent to like what I grew up with. A lot of like teenagers that I knew were talking about sex all the time, and getting into that formulaic age of falling in love and juggling, well, should I have sex or not. This book kind of does that in a way, but in a comedy sense, because you're just watching it feels like, well, obviously she's been alive a lot longer, but she looks like she's like 15, 16, but they're always talking about he always wants to he just wants to become a vampire, but she makes these weird sexual jokes, but they're not blatant. You have to kind of catch them. But I would admit I actually enjoy this because it has clever writing in it. It's not like in your face kind of. You have to be clever enough to spot it. Anyway, I enjoyed this so much that I ended up buying volume 2 and I bought volume 3. I have a rule where I don't like to buy a series that's too far in, and this is already 14 volumes in. I usually jump on a series. I would jump on a series if it was 10 volumes. I'll jump on it, but 14 is a bit much. But for some reason, I'm curious to see where this is gonna go, so I decided to just kind of collect this a lot slower as I read it. But I have high hopes for this because it's actually pretty interesting. I think also one of the reasons why I find this series interesting is because I have a son. I assume that there's going to be a point where he's going to start asking me questions as he gets older. So I don't know, I just find this kind of intriguing. Anyway, Call of the Night it's good so far. Can I recommend it? Sure. I mean, if you're into that kind of stuff, I guess. But I guess it's kind of hard to recommend in my opinion. Next is High School Classroom of the Elite, Volume 7. I still haven't gotten past Volume 2 yet because I'm still reading Volume 1. Well, I already finished Volume 1. I haven't read Volume 2 because there's another manga that's taking up a lot of my time, but I wanted to get ahead of the game and get all of these because I plan on reading all of this. I got 7 and I got Volume 8. I like Classroom of the Elite so far, so I figure it's right up my alley anyway, so I figure I get the rest. Next is a recommendation from a subscriber. I was told to get this in one of my streams. I have a lot of other books that I need to get in one of my streams, but the only reason why I really got this was because I was walking in my local comic book store and this just happened to be on the shelf where I was looking. So I decided to buy the copy and I read volume 1. And I enjoyed volume 1 so much that I got volume 2 of Dan to Dan, volume 3, volume 4, volume 5, and volume 6. Dan to Dan is a unique title. It's definitely, it has two of the things that I love the most. It has comedy, really stupid comedy, but it also has like occult stuff in it. I'm not big on sci-fi, but there is some sci-fi aspects to it too. But it follows these two teens that basically, one deals with the occult and the other one deals with, like, I guess spirituality and metaphysical stuff. But the thing is that they have to work together all the time, and it brings like this weird, unique blend of them having to like exorcise demons and fight evil aliens and such like that. But the thing is that you can tell the writer, if they're separated, it makes things 10 times harder for them. It's really, really good. It's very funny. The only thing that I can honestly say about this manga that is kind of weird is sometimes the artwork can be inconsistent, and I think that's done on purpose to convey like over the top like comedy. They do like these weird faces. They make these weird, like the artist draws like strange faces on the characters. But I definitely recommend Dan to Dan. I was actually not expecting to like this so much. I am along for the long haul with this one. Shouts out to the one who recommended Dan to Dan to me, because this was really good. I enjoyed it. Next is Marriage Toxin. Marriage Toxin is a manga I bought on a whim. I was not expecting anything great from this series at all. I just bought it because it was number 1 and it didn't look like it had any more volumes coming out. So I figure I'd jump on something while it's fresh. Marriage Toxin is actually better than I anticipated because of its great pacing. It has fantastic pacing. It takes the time necessary to build the characters up. You don't really hit, like, there's action in it, but there's also very good character development in this book, which is very surprising. I think for a shonen, though, a lot of people might find this book very boring, but it does have action points. It's about this character who is basically a hitman, but he's like he's a poison assassin. Like, so he assassinates people by poison, and I guess he doesn't want to fall in love like ever in his life. And he meets his sister, which is not on the cover, is forced to get into a relationship and bear the heir of their next sibling in their family. And his sister is a lesbian. She doesn't want to get married to a man, so he's putting himself out there to try and find a wife, but he has 0 social skills. So this girl here is supposed to be his hit, and she ends up being like a marriage swindler. So she basically gets married to people and then swindles them out of all their money. He hires her to help him with his own social anxieties. It's actually pretty interesting. Even his skills when he fights like other crime syndicates is really cool. He wears like this weird gas mask and he injects himself with these different serums, and they increase his abilities. It's really cool. The design is actually pretty interesting. I recommend this as a one-shot. Like, you read it and then you decide on yourself like how you like it. But if I was gonna rate this, to me it's like 3.5 stars right now. But I do like it and I'm gonna continue to read it. Next is the final volume of Golden Kamui. This is volume 31. As you guys know, I've been reading Golden Kamuy since its inception. It's a story about a war veteran who is searching for a treasure, and the treasure is tattooed on the bodies of 27 different inmates with special skills. This has been such a great journey of Golden Kamuy. I love Golden Kamuy. It's sad that it's going to end at volume 31, but I can't wait to see what Satoru Noda is going to do next, because Golden Kamuy was really good. I hands down recommend it if you can find all of these. I mean, it's a Viz signature book, so most likely you might be able to find a copy, but Golden Kamuy is such a great series. I hate to see it go. Last but not least is Mint Chocolate Volume 8 and Volume 9. I've been reading Mint Chocolate since it came out. I'm not really into shoujos, but this is the only shoujo that I can actually say I really enjoy. It's a romance story about two high school students who were in love from the beginning, and they've always liked each other. And in the middle of them about to, kind of consummate their love, their parents get married and they become step siblings. So they kind of have to keep the relationship under wraps. And it has been really good. There's a lot of twists and turns throughout the book. I was actually kind of shocked how sometimes there can be a weird twist, because I never pictured romances to be anything like that. But I do recommend Mint Chocolate if you're into something different and you want to kind of get away from all the action and adventure of other manga. So this is all of the manga that I've gotten for the past, I guess, probably 2 weeks. It's here and there, but hopefully I will be able to do a manga collection overview video very soon. But until then, I will see you guys next time. Peace.